It's finally spooky season, meaning we're getting scary up in here. More spookiness, more scariness, more skeletoniness, more jump scares.
Element of surprise!
Anyways, it's time for my annual Halloween special where I make a ranking on a spooky game. This year's spooky game is Election Year Knockout.
What? This game doesn't look like a horror game. This is just a plebeian Punch-Out fan game. I'm disliking, unsubscribing, and canceling you on Twitter.
Shut up! This game is a horror game because nothing is scarier than politics.
I just crap myself.
Happy Halloween, everyone! If anyone can correctly guess who I am in the comments, I'll pin it. So I'll be ranking all the fights in this game based on how hard they are, meaning how much damage they do, how durable they are, how complicated they can be to figure out, and how much punishment they can dish out if you ever mess up. Finally, shout out to how the fuck do you pronounce that again? Turchulo. He's the one who introduced me to this game, and he also made a ranking on it. But he grouped all the fights with their presidential rematches, so that's the main reason I'm even making this video in the first place. But hey, if you want to, watch that video first, then come back and watch this one. I'm just here to kick back and waste some time. Wait a minute. No, I'm not. I have nothing else to say. Start the fucking video, damn you.
Who said that? Who said that? Is that you?
Jab Bush. He's the first fighter in the game. What do you want me to say? He's weak, he's slow, he's telegraphed, he only has one attack, he gets stunned for a long time, and most offensively, he is the only fighter in the game to have an instant knockout trick. All you have to do is counter his jab with a haymaker. It's so easy that there's an achievement you can get by beating him in one punch, which just requires you to perfect block around 5 of his jabs in a row, then counter his jab with a haymaker. It's pathetically easy, but it's the first boss, so what do you expect? I do think this fight would have been better without the instant knockdown, but hey, beggars can't be choosers. I still think he's a good first boss overall. But being a good first boss means that you kinda have to be pathetically easy, so I don't think anyone's feathers are gonna be ruffled over me putting this guy at the bottom.
Give me Canada. No. Give me Canada. No.
Justin Turbo is up next, and for how late he is into the game, he is incredibly easy. He has the Piston Honda gimmick of telegraphing his jabs by wiggling his eyebrows, but he must have forgotten the part of Piston Honda where he's actually difficult. This salmon arm sissy just has a telegraph jab, an uppercut, and a taunt. The only thing I could see someone realistically getting hit by, unless they're just really stupid, is the taunt, because if you try to hit him too early, he'll counter. That said, his HP, damage output, stun time, and defense are all very lacking. Sorry bud, but Canada is doomed to forever be America's baby brother. Maybe if meditation was a sport, you'd have something on me.
Take me out to dinner. Hey, yo!
AO is the third boss in this game, and she's kinda just here. She has an unblockable jab and a fast jab she'll sometimes use if she gets mad, but that's about it. She gives a lot of stun, she's very slow and telegraphed, and her only attack with a real oomph is her unblockable jab, which, to its credit, does do a lot of damage for a third boss. The one other thing that makes her pretty good is she's pretty durable, having quite a bit of HP. But as that one trainer from Pokemon with nothing but a Kakuna and a Metapod proved, the best offense is not a good defense.
Hey everyone, I'm Joe Biden's husband.
Uncle Joe is surprisingly competent for a second boss. His attacks are quite varied, he does a good amount of damage, and he doesn't give much stun at all. That said, good luck seeing any of his stronger attacks because he spends ages getting into those later phases. Speaking of phases, yeah, he's phase-based. And not in the way of, oh, he'll just go into his later phases when you knock him down. No, his phases are time-based. His first phase has him using some jabs from both directions, the second phase has him switch to one direction and do slightly faster jabs, and the third phase has him jump back, then try to tackle you. This could be challenging if it didn't take him longer to get into his second phase than it does for his real-life counterpart to get out a full sentence. The one other thing he has is an instant knockdown. If you counter any of his attacks with a haymaker, he goes down immediately. Don't get me wrong, Joe has a good arsenal, but it could be a lot better if his arsenal was used better and his rough edges were smoothed out. Maybe in a title defense fight, or a presidential rematch.
But to me, it's a zodiac sign, not a personality disorder.
Starting off the D tier, we have Ted Bruce. Speaking of fighters who could be a lot better if their arsenal was used better, Ted Bruce has a good amount of attacks, yes, but good luck seeing any of them aside from his jabs. He is very reserved with his special attacks, which sucks because the main theme of this fight is astrology, with him using different constellations as attacks, including a bull charge, a scorpion tail, and cloning himself. The problem is, once again, he barely throws these and mainly just uses jabs. That said, he's the first boss to pretty much require you to parry all his attacks to do any sort of damage, so he at least has that going for him.
Those are some angry birds.
Bertie Sanders is probably the most unique fight in the entire game. Actually, one of the most unique fights in the entire game. He doesn't really attack you, instead letting his bird do all the dirty work. You need to counter the bird depending on where it goes on the screen, and that requires you to use every single kind of punch, which I really like. He also has a few special attacks, the main one being an attack where all the birds come together and bombard you. And you best bring a slingshot because these are some angry birds. The main problem is this fight is just too simple. Once you figure out what to do, there's pretty much no struggle here unless you just can't figure out the timings. If only there was a presidential rematch that fixed all of the problems.
I'm gonna need a little bit better of a yeehaw than that.
Heading into our first presidential bout, Jab Bush is the most basic in terms of changes. Faster attacks, more damage, less stun time, the whole shebang. There really isn't much to say aside from the fact that this fight just improves Jab, but it doesn't save him from being easy, unfortunately.
Your heart favored indeed. Being a pirate is a right to be. Do what you want, 'cause a pirate is free. You are a pirate.
Captain Crenshaw. This was one of the hardest fights to rank, because yes, he's decently complicated gimmick-wise, but he's also very cheesable. The first phase has him using a cannon to shoot you with cannonballs, and you need to dodge based on where he shot them from. However, you can make him lose the cannon by either hitting him with 2 haymakers or knocking him down. The problem is you could just kinda juggle him, similarly to Macho Man from Punch-Out Wii. The main difference between there and here is you can do this forever, meaning you can knock him down in seconds flat, but the second phase is oddly enough harder, having him using only hooks, which are pretty fast. The problem is the hooks don't really do that much damage, and he gives you long stun periods as well, making it pretty easy. If only there was a presidential rematch!
Kim Jong-un is a f***ing fat ass, so he's going in F tier. I might be on a watch list now, but I really don't care. What is he gonna do? Eat me?
Moving up into C tier, hailing from this absolute hellhole, we have Kim Jong-boom. He runs around the screen wildly and places missiles on the sides of the ring. The thing is, he needs to put the 2 individual pieces of the missile together. If he does, the missile will fly into the air and you'll need to dodge it from the side adjacent to where the missile came from. The missiles do a lot of damage, but that's not the problem. The problem is dealing damage to him. You'll need to time a body blow when he runs in front of you, then he'll fly into the air. In order to hit him more, you'll need to hit him back and forth. If you whiff and he gets back on the ground, he'll attempt to tackle you. But this actually does damage to him if you dodge it. Honestly, the hardest part is just figuring out how to deal damage, because aside from that, he's really easy.
If he was Canadian as fuck, he wouldn't even fight.
It's true.
He'd just be like, let's have some waffles, eh?
Here we have our second presidential fight. Turbo Prime is very similar, except with Turbo Prime is very similar, except with faster attacks, less stun, a counter jab whenever he gets out of stun, a hockey stick attack he uses after using his counter punch he uses when he blocks, and an instant knockdown punch when you whiff the counter on his taunt. There's one Big problem with this fight. His counter jab can be countered, putting him into stun. And when he gets out of stun, he'll do another counter jab that you can then counter, in which case he'll follow up with another counter jab that you can then counter. Oh, he's down. Do you see the problem here? Granted, you need to think quickly since he can counter from both sides, but if you can get into a flow state, he is absolutely cooked.
Hey, does anybody want coffee? Who wants coffee? I just made a fresh pot of coffee. Does anybody want coffee?
Ah, boy, Chief Warren. Chief Warren is a very awkward fighter at first. She has a fast jab, a fast uppercut, and a delayed uppercut. She also has a Soda Popinski style taunt where she'll drink her garbage her Starbucks drink. The big problem with this taunt is the counter window. It's not small by any means, but it's where it is that's the problem. You see, with Soda, you need to hit the soda out of his hand before he starts drinking. But with Warren, you need to hit her while she's drinking the coffee. And if you whiff at the hit, she'll do the cha-cha slide to the left and drink the coffee anyway. Now, granted, this isn't a big deal since the coffee doesn't heal her in this fight, but that will change in the presidential rematch. Also, whether you counter the taunt or not, she'll shoot a flurry of arrows at you. You'll need to shuck and jive left and right to dodge the arrows, and you can counter the last one to get more stun off her. Not that she's likely to stay up if you just dodge and punish. That's the main problem here. She has the least HP of any fighter in the game, including jab. If you just perfect block 5 attacks, then counter any of her attacks with a haymaker, she will not survive the onslaught of punishment that'll follow. Even if she's at full health when you use the haymaker. Even considering the fact she barely gives you any stun, it doesn't matter and is barely even noticeable.
The Pope is a nuke, and we're all gonna die from nuclear fallout!
Oh boy, Mike Pius, the second in command. For how similar his name is to Mike Tyson, he's really letting his status carry him here. His hooks and jabs are very slow, and while he does have special attacks, it's nearly impossible to see them since his power only increases when he actually manages to land a hit on you. In fact, that factor makes those attacks so unthreatening, there's absolutely no point in talking about the attacks right now. So, why is he this high? Well, he's pretty awkward and can be difficult to learn. That said, he may work for God, but I'm agnostic, so I'm happy to beat up God's servant in front of God himself. Fuck you. Here he is, the final boss, weighing in at too damn large and hitting too damn hard. It's Donald Thump, and I have just one thing to say to him. Join the club of Tiki Tong and Wonder Bowser. He is piss easy for a final boss, and yes, I know he technically isn't, but still, all he has is a jab and an ear clap known as the Stormy Smash. But both are fairly easy to dodge and have pretty generous counter windows. Also, if you ever block a punch, he'll get offended and use the Stormy Smash. This fight is also a King Hippo style bout where he has a shit ton of HP, but it only takes one knockdown to defeat him. But man, even King Hippo had a more varied arsenal than this. At around 25% HP, he'll get angry and his attacks will become faster and stronger, but that means pretty much nothing. I only lost to him once when I first played this game, and that's kinda pathetic compared to the 5 times I lost to Contender Sandman in Punch-Out Wii. Much like his real-life counterpart, he's letting his status talk the talk rather than his strength walking the walk. Must be compensating for something, huh? Hopefully he takes that to heart and tries to actually feel like a final boss in this presidential rematch.
We are America, second to none, and we own the finish line.
Presidential Joe. Now, granted, he doesn't have that many new attacks, but remember how I said in his base fight, he takes ages to get to his later phases? Yeah, that luxury is gone. If he even blocks a punch, he'll go into his next phase. Now, his first and second phases are the same, but his third phase has him using a second tackle after the first one. He also has one last trick up his sleeve. Even if you take all his HP, he's not going down so easily. This final punch is an instant knockdown, by the way, so if you somehow mess up the dodge, say goodbye to all your HP. This attack is honestly the main reason he's this high, because he's pretty manageable otherwise. But this one attack is absolutely devastating. Also, that second tackle is very delayed, so he has more than one attack that can really mess you up, unlike our next EX fight.
Putin was reportedly heard raving that he knew Putin's fingerprints were all over the plan to kill Putin and signed an executive order authorizing Putin to assassinate Putin before Putin could give Putin the go-ahead to have Putin assassinate Putin.
Heading into our final normal fight and starting off the top 10, we have Vladimir Putin. He was the final character added to the game and was designed to be a genuine challenge. And boy, did they deliver. All his punches come out in combos, and you'll need to counter or punish based on where his first punch comes from. He goes low, you go high, and vice versa. He also has a counter punch whenever he blocks, and he'll usually follow that up with a devastating kick attack known as the Meteor Stomp, which does a lot of damage. But this isn't his greatest strength, rather his biggest weakness. You can perfect block the kick, then immediately use a haymaker to counter the two follow-up hooks to get an instant knockdown, but the window to perform the instant knockdown is pretty small. He also has another special attack that has him using the Kasa kicks, a 3-kick combo ending off with a powerful uppercut. The strategy is to perfect block the 3 kicks, then counter his uppercut with a haymaker. This fight is a brutal back and forth, and no matter what you do, you will struggle. As a final note, why is it always the Russian characters that are the hardest? Am I the only one who's noticed that?
Kicking? Oh, I want to do some kicking!
Why you? What?
Remember when I said earlier that Presidential Joe has more than one devastating attack unlike the next EX fight? Well, this is obviously the fight I was referring to. Her unblockable jab has even more oomph than before, and her regular jabs have follow-up after follow-up after follow-up after follow-up if you don't counter. But that's not the biggest problem. The biggest problem in this fight is when you do stun her. You can get 2 hits off of her and then she'll try to kick you. But this isn't just any old kick. She must have taken some lessons from Dragon Chan, because this kick is an instant knockdown. She can also use it randomly at certain points. So you might be wondering, if she has such a devastating attack, why is she not higher? She can only use the kick from one direction, which makes it way too predictable. So once you beat the boss once, you can beat it again and again and again, and really that kick is just a little hurl you gotta learn.
You guys have lost control. There's no escape. Just give me some space.
Starting off the A tier, Presidential Bruise is very much improved. His jabs come out in groups of 3, his bullet Ares Ram does more damage and is faster, he gives less free hits, his Scorpio Smack has a tighter counter, he'll now smack you with a fish that takes all of your stamina whenever you miss a haymaker, and his Gemini Rush has both the clones use the Scorpio Smack before bombarding you with jabs. Overall, this fight is a major improvement. The fights above it are just better.
And then I fired again, and then I missed, and then I fired, and then I fired, and I missed. I missed both times, and then I fired, and I missed. This went on for several hours.
And now we've reached the other side of the spectrum with Presidential Warren. She is not very improved. She's just faster, stronger, and has less stun. That's about it. Yeah, she's clearly much more trigger happy. Do literally anything and she'll shoot an arrow. Counter, she shoots an arrow. With a hit, she shoots an arrow. With a haymaker, she shoots an arrow. Counter her coffee break taunt, which now heals her by the way, she shoots multiple arrows. Just let her drink the coffee instead, she still shoots multiple arrows. With this constant barrage of arrows, why is she not higher? Well, she's still a coffee drinker, and if you deny her the brown alcohol, she's gonna go through serious withdrawals and you can just wail on her. Warren, since you like memes so much, I have a meme for you.
On your marks.
Explosions.
Okay, real talk for a sec. When I ask you to think of a perfect title defense fight, what would you think of? You'd probably think of a fight where all the weaknesses of the opponent are accounted for, and it'll take more steps to achieve. A fight where all the attacks work in tandem to make you dodge wrong. Every single time. A fight that makes you need to relearn the fighter all over again and really think about the fighter you're fighting in a new yet familiar way. That is what all of these final 6 fighters attempt to accomplish. Starting with Lil Rocket Man. Starting with his missiles, they are faster, are all instant knockdowns, and have 3 different variations that are always telegraphed. A fast missile, a delayed missile, and an extra delayed missile. As for actually trying to deal damage, he now has much more health, and his weight will gradually increase as you juggle him, going from moon gravity to Jupiter gravity in around 9 punches. You also need to keep an eye on your stamina, as it's very easy to run out and be left completely open. Finally, I forgot to mention in the last version that you can parry the missiles with a haymaker, but it serves no practical purpose and is only pretty much useful for an achievement.
It's got to be the best part I've ever seen. So it would seem.
Presidential Crenshaw, or as I like to call him, Admiral Crenshaw, is an absolute beast. He now has a ship that shoots cannonballs with him, so when you dodge a cannonball from him, you need to immediately dodge the other way to dodge a cannonball that came from the ship. The ship also shoots cannonballs in its later phases, and don't worry, we will talk about that. But first, when you get the cannon out of his hands, he'll pull out a fucking sword. The sword is pretty similar to his hooks, aside from, the actual new attacks. He'll now do a triple swipe, then he'll jump back, do a jump strike, then he'll try to poke you. This attack is ruthless and is, in my opinion, one of the hardest attacks to dodge in the game. But that's not even the hardest part. The hardest part is the ship is still here. It'll shoot cannonballs, which can make dealing punishment nearly impossible. The only way to get rid of the ship is to counter one of the cannonballs with a haymaker to send it flying back at the ship. And that is the farthest thing from easy. You'd best hope you can deal with the ship during his cannonball phase, otherwise the rest of this fight will be hell. Hell, the rest of this fight will still be hell even if you stop the hellfire coming from that hellhound. What the hell? Also, how does that ship sail on land anyway?
That fucking bird that I hate.
That fucking bird that I hate. That fucking bird that I hate.
That fucking bird that I hate.
Here he is. This is, in my opinion, the most improved fighter from contender to title defense. Presidential Birdie. He'll now use multiple birds to attack, going from 2 all the way up to 4. He'll also use a peck attack when all the birds are down. Also, one thing I left out on purpose in Birdie's normal fight is he has a pathetic little jab he'll use if you don't attack him first, prompting the bird. And if you stand still and try and get him to knock you down with just this pathetic little tap, it'll take him 4 rounds. 4 rounds. But in this fight, well, I'll just show you. But wait, there's more. As you knock him down, the birds will get faster, and by the end, it'll pretty much be a rhythm game, and most people just can't handle that. But hey, one of my most played games is Friday Night Funkin', so I have rhythm to spare.
I'm a fire in my laser!
Here it is, the storm before the hurricane. The penultimate boss, kind of, that we were all waiting for. Presidential Pius. Presidential Pius has one big new change. His magic increases over time, meaning you can actually see his special attacks now. But once you do, you'll wish you could never see them again. He can summon a small shield, heal, throw a giant fist at you, or fire an entire laser. This can't be that serious, man. But the worst part, if you don't deal with these moves the way the game wants, Pius will get the better of you. This game wants you to counter the special attacks, including the laser. Now, I'm no laser expert, but I'm pretty sure you can't punch a fucking laser. How is anyone supposed to know how to do that? Also, the laser is an instant knockdown, so good luck with countering it anyway. He'll also heal whenever he gets out of stun, and at the beginning of every round, which is just great. And finally, the shields. Whenever he gets up, he'll summon a shield which takes 10 punches to get rid of. All the while, Pius is still bombarding you with his fabled technique of random bullshit go. Now, yes, you can destroy the shield with a haymaker, but don't tell me that doesn't feel like a bit of a waste of a haymaker. Overall, if you are not on your toes, you can forget about beating the game, let alone even seeing the final boss. Speaking of... Presidential Thump, the final boss. He's finally here. He oddly has a lot of similarities to Ted Bruce's presidential rematch. He has a triple jab, an attack that instantly wins you, and oh wait, that's all the similarities. Anyways, his Stormy Smash is an instant knockdown now, and his triple jab is a death sentence if you get hit by all three. At around half health, his moveset gets expanded. He'll now use a Javelin. Get it? It has two variants with different speeds, and doesn't do any damage, but rather instantly wins you, which is basically an instant knockdown since he immediately follows it up with the fearsome Baby Hands. It's an attack where he uses 3 jabs, kinda similar to Disco Kid's Disco Flurry. It has a tight dodge window, it's an instant knockdown if you get hit with all 3 jabs, and he does it twice. Once you get him down to around 25% HP, he'll get angry and faster. All of his attacks lead into each other. Stormy Smash, Baby Hands, triple jabs, repeat. You have to parry attacks, but that's really difficult because if you whiff, you'll probably go down with just 1 ear clap, or just a few jabs, or just 1 Baby Hands. This fight is an absolute bloodbath, and is overwhelming the first time. And if you can't handle that, that's it. You're not getting the presidency. But this isn't about the presidency anymore. This is about standing up to a bully. Trump may think he's all that, but as my mom always said about his real-life counterpart, he's just a sad, lonely man. Also subscribe to Game Gear Gabe. She definitely said that last part. Thump may have plenty of tricks up his sleeve, but you do too. If you wait a bit when knocking him off balance to throw a haymaker, you can get double the stun. You can also knock him off balance after he uses the Baby Hands. Perfect blocking his triple jabs will get you a lot of super meter and probably give you a haymaker, and then you could use that haymaker to counter his Stormy Smash. Also, make sure to counter his Stormy Smashes at the beginning of the fight, otherwise you'll just be more nervous about it at the end of the fight. If you can manage to slowly chip his HP down to 0, you'll finally make Thump get what he's had coming ever since 2016. Night night! You know, after that fight, I can't help but feel like reality is based on art. But we're president now, so who cares? But if you've been paying attention, that was only number 2 on the list. And if you played this game before, I think you know what's coming next. Yeah, anyone who's played this game probably saw this coming. Before you even get to fight Boutin, you'll need to get through the bear. In order to beat this whole ass bear, you'll need to beat up his paws by parrying his swipe and slam. Once both of his paws are down, you'll need to parry the avoidable chin move with a punch, or better yet a haymaker, and let him have it. There's just one problem with the bear. Every single attack, except the avoidable chin move, is an instant knockdown. Once you finally beat the bear, you still have to deal with Boutin himself. He'll now follow up his follow-ups with follow-ups. His meteor stop is an instant knockdown, his follow-up hooks come out faster, his counter hook now is a delayed variant, and his Casa kicks are faster. Honestly, that's it. This fight is just harder, and that's it. Honestly, there's two main difficulties here. One, if you get hit by one attack, you'll probably get hit by another, and that especially applies to the Casa kicks. And two, even if you get to Boutin, your hands will be shaking because you just beat up a whole ass bear who was very difficult. But once you get to that final phase with the Casa kicks, we all know there's only one way to end this. Will I hit it? Yeah! So that was the list. Did you agree? Did you disagree? Let me know. Like, subscribe, comment, do all the things, and I will see y'all later. Bye-bye!